and it's only 2.19 that are in school.
Earlier this week, the Equal Opportunities Commission, in its latest report on access to secondary education, raised concerns over the continued low allocation of funds to students in government schools. The Commission noted that the capitation grant provided by government remains insufficient. This, they say, has forced many public schools to charge extra fees from parents, making it difficult for some learners to transition to secondary education.
The capitation grant that is given to schools per student per term is 58,000 shillings, 300. And teachers claim that this is a very small amount of money. It is not sufficient for them to run their affairs. So they claim that this is the reason as to why they charge fees to fill up some of the gaps that they have.
The Commission called on government to increase funding to schools in order to curb the growing practice of charging additional fees.
And we are having discussions with the ministry to say that the capitation grant is increased. However, we also continue to warn schools that this is unacceptable.
The issue was also echoed by members of Parliament on the Education Committee during the National Dialogue on Public Education Financing.
We spend money on useless things, very useless things. But you can't invest in education. And everybody is because of education. And we continue lamenting. So at times we are challenged. As members of Parliament, we are fighting.
Whoever wants to know what's happening in the UPE schools, parents are paying fees. If you go to USE, I am paying fees for more than 150 children. I am paying fees for secondary school children.
Shadow Minister for Education, Joseph Sewungu, says government must take deliberate steps to invest in public education rather than leaving the sector largely to private players. He also emphasized the need to improve teachers' welfare.
The others win. But let us push hard to see that we go back to the foundation of education. Teaching is not about the building. The moment you have good teachers within those structures and they are well facilitated, you will still get the same results. I'm happy that they have said now they are going to increase teachers' salaries. But that one is still on paper.
At the international level, governments are expected to allocate at least 15 to 20% of their national budgets to education. However, in Uganda, the allocation has dropped to less than 7%.
That in both cases, either to the GDP ratio or the national budget, we are far from reality. That is half of the minimum. GDP ratio, we are around 2.3% instead of between 4 to 6%.
That spending fell even further. It has gone down, Philbert, even further according to UNESCO, reaching 6.6% of total public expenditure in 2024-2025. You were in the middle. Now UNESCO tells you you are among the lowest in Africa and in the world.
Baguma warns that failure to invest adequately in public education undermines the country's ability to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 4 on inclusive and quality education.
Obviously, the quality of education you give remains wanting because you are not investing enough to provide the quality of education that a country should have.
He adds that poor working conditions have forced many teachers into early retirement, while others are leaving the profession in search for better opportunities.
Some teachers leave service either on mandatory retirement or on early retirement or on resignations. And therefore, the gaps continuously remain there.
Education stakeholders now warn that unless government increases funding in the next financial year to address salary disparities, improve infrastructure and support schools, the quality of education in Uganda could deteriorate further. I'm Benjamin Jumbe, NTV Weekend Edition.
Since we have our colleagues who are in Parliament,